Is your host from Apex Reaction. In today's video, I'm just gonna give you a breakdown of my top 5 title contenders for the Formula One 2026 season. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you are already a subscriber, that means a lot to me. And without further ado, let's just get right into the video. I know my this is only a wild prediction, and you have to bear with me. This is only based on preseason testing and the sentiment that I get from teams and drivers, nothing else. But yeah, and it's going to shock a lot of Formula One teams. But then again, you know, there's an element of bias on this ranking, like everyone else has their own favorite driver. Yeah, I don't expect everyone to agree with this list, but this is only my list, and it's only based on 3 things: preseason testing, drivers and team sentiment, and obviously that little 10% of bias, right? I'm planning to do another video similar to this after the 5th round of Formula One, because only then we're starting to see the true sentiment and the true pace of drivers and teams. Because currently, Formula One teams in Formula One, they are notoriously for doing a lot of sandbagging, doing preseason testing, and up to this point, every single team on the grid, they've been hiding their true pace. So after the 5th round, I'm planning to do a similar video like this one, but only with 3 drivers, not 5. So number five, I put Lewis Hamilton. I think Lewis Hamilton doesn't need an introduction. I think he's the most successful driver on the grid. He should have been 8 times world champion, ship winner by now. But obviously things happen. But Lewis Hamilton, for me, comes in 5th because Ferrari has been able to show true pace in Bahrain preseason. Even though he didn't have an amazing season last year, in fact, it was possibly the worst. It was actually the worst season Lewis Hamilton ever had in Formula One. He didn't secure a single podium, not a single pole position, not only that, but you know, the communications between him and the engineer, we could clearly see that Lewis was frustrated most times. You know, you could see the sentiment and the body language when he was being interviewed. He didn't like a lot of the things. It was not even, at times you could see, it wasn't even the pace. It was just like something to do internally, I don't know, maybe it was the philosophy of Ferrari. It was the radio communications that we could see that this is not going anywhere. You know, it's no brainer that Lewis Hamilton is frustrated with the engineer. But this year, things have changed. Lewis Hamilton has come out, and you know, he has said very positive things about the car. You can see them. This is one of the happiest I've seen Lewis Hamilton at Ferrari. And for him to be to have a miserable season and to come out very positive and very energetic this year. Obviously, the regulations have changed for everybody, but it seems like Hamilton and Ferrari have been the teams that have been able to get things right from the start. And Hamilton obviously is not hiding that. He's not hiding the fact that the Ferrari have been able to get things right this time around. And, you know, Lewis Hamilton also possibly one of the drivers that have seen all the changes in Formula One. Obviously, being the biggest one in one single season affects a lot of things, but he's one of those drivers that is able to adapt easily to any regulations. And it seems like the car fits his style of driving. He also said things like, this season, it feels like the car has my own DNA, because I've been able to help out with the design and the building of the car, whereas the previous car, he basically inherited whatever the car was, and he had to drive with that car. He couldn't do much, right? And this is some of the things that he said. What's certain is that the team has done an incredible job preparing for this championship, and I feel much better than I did a year ago. We all saw this. Lewis Hamilton, it feels like a different man at this stage. I think a lot of I think of the lost sights for a second of who I was, and the person and that person's gone, so you won't see that person again. I'm useless, and I'm absolutely useless. This was some of the things that Lewis Hamilton used to say last year on the radio, on interviews. It felt like you know, he was terrified of the things that he was witnessing in racing. How comes a seven-time world championship winner struggles to get a podium challenge with everything? And this is why Lewis Hamilton for me looks very solid, even though I think his teammates will continue to dominate him this season. One of the main reasons I've put him in fifth place is because I think even though the sentiment is very positive from Ferrari and Lewis, I think Lewis is not on his prime anymore. Last season, he was being dominated by Leclerc, and I think this season Leclerc looks solid as well, and he will continue to do the same trend as last season. But Lewis looks more happy this season. The car is balanced. The car is well designed according to him. He just looks younger already. He looks ready to fight. He looks ready to win the championship or to help Ferrari win the championship this season. I think he can sense that. But I think, on my honestly opinion, I think Charles Leclerc will continue to dominate Lewis Hamilton simply because I think Hamilton is not on his prime, and I think Leclerc is on his prime. Um, in fourth position, again, I said in the beginning of the video, there's bias in this standing order, and obviously Oscar Piastri is my favorite driver on the grid at the moment. The reason I put him fourth is because it's still a solid position. The dude could have won the championship last season. Let's not make a mistake about it. I think the papaya rules changed the dynamics of how the world championship could have ended in the end. Obviously, Oscar Piastri didn't have this. The second half of the season wasn't his best. He was making a lot of mistakes, and on top of that, McLaren did interfere with the championship quite a lot, in my opinion, and he could have easily won the championship, in my opinion. And I think being in fourth position is solid. You have to consider that McLaren are the construction's title winners as well as the championship winners. So to rule out the McLarens at this stage, based on pre-season testing that we've seen, we know that Mercedes and Ferrari is probably the two most more likely to win the championships. But McLaren, you cannot rule them out because they're simply the world championship leaders, and they have the best driver do on the grid. Norris and Piastri, for me, the best drivers on the grid. Not the best drivers, but the best do drivers that teams have. I don't think you can mention any other team that has a solid drivers that are able to maximize points, pole positions, fastest laps, and win podiums, win races. I don't think you have any other team that can do that like the McLarens did last season. Again, fourth position. I'm being biased, possibly, but yeah. In third position, I had to put Lando Norris. Again, like I said, I think the fight, based on what we've seen so far in pre-season testing, I think the fight is going to be between Ferraris and the Mercedes. Obviously, there will be another teams on a mix, but as the season progresses and we come into an end, I think it will be very obvious. We don't know what obvious means at this stage, but again, I keep stressing the word preseason testing, and this is what this order is all about: preseason testing. I think Norris, world champion, winner. I mean, it's no brainer. We can never rule out the Mercedes. We can never rule out the McLarens. Sorry, we can never rule out Lando Norris. He had an amazing season last year, even though he committed a lot of mistakes initially in the first part of the season, but then he was able to correct it, and with the help of the McLaren papaya rules, eventually he won the championship. But yeah, not only that, but we have to consider that McLaren, they also have the Mercedes power unit, which, according to the pundits and speculations and rumors by the media, it's one of the best power units on the grid. So McLaren, top three for me. Norris, solid driver and amazing. He's very fast driver. In fact, in terms of qualifying, he completely demolished Oscar Piastri in qualifying. He was able to. He was when I mean demolished, he was fastest overall. It doesn't mean that he won the most pole positions. I think they were even on that in that regard, but he was consistently faster than Oscar Piastri. And for me, yeah, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris. Sorry, I keep getting the names wrong throughout the entire video, but yeah, bear with me, guys. Lando Norris, third position for me. It's again, it's gonna raise a lot of eyebrows, but for me, I think you can justify enough to hold a third position. And yeah, he we all know that Norris will be racing with the number one on his car. Obviously, he adds more pressure to him. You know, he has to defend his championship position, and obviously they want to fight for, they want to win the third constructionship title as well. So I think they'll try to defend as much as they can, and third position for Lando Norris. Enough said. Moving on. I think this is one of the most controversial. In fact, I believe everyone on my list in the order of ranking that I've put them is very controversial. But this one being the most controversial because the sentiment coming from the media is that Russell is the favorite to win the championship. I don't disagree with that because they have Mercedes. They have one of the best power units on the grid. Obviously, I don't want to get into the technical details of the compression ratios loophole that the Mercedes were able to find and give them an edge. But even though they have an amazing team and an amazing engine, the reason why I've put George Russell in second place is I can find enough reasons to put him in first place, and I can also find enough reasons to put him in second place, right? But then again, I'm being biased here again. I just don't think George Russell is the most talent or the most successful driver or the most skillful driver. Let's just go with the skillful driver on the grid. I think Antonelli is going to give him a nightmare this season. Antonelli was, if you look at the Bahrain preseason, Antonelli was able to be on top of the timesheets and match George Russell's pace day in, day out. So the fact that Antonelli is able to do that, and George Russell with the same engine, with the same car, wasn't able to distance himself from Antonelli that much. I don't know. It gives me a hint that Antonelli, it could give him a nightmare this season. But I don't know. I couldn't find. I couldn't justify to put Russell in first place simply because they have the best engine. For me, it's not good enough. You need to have an amazing driver, a skillful driver that is able to perform week in, week out. And also the sentiment of George Russell, he feels like they're not the best, but I think they're playing politics. I think all of these drivers, they're being media training, and they have to follow, they have to say exactly what the team principal tells them to do. And we know that Toto Wolff basically, is a master of this, hide in the pace, don't tell them that we have this, blah, blah, blah. But we all know that, Mercedes, they could potentially be half a second quicker than everyone else on the grid. And they hide in a lot of pace. We know this. But the sentiment of George was basically that it's either hide your true pace or somehow you're okay. We saw George Russell coming, not just George Russell, but Mercedes in general. They come out saying, the benchmark of I think Red Bull have raised the bar in terms of benchmark, whatever engine should be doing in Formula One, blah blah blah. But we know Mercedes is the top dogs when it comes to power unit. But because they're the power unit, they have the best power unit on the grid. I don't think they have the best drivers on the grid, and that's the only reason why I can put George Russell first. I think you need a combination of both. And again, I could have, like I said, I could have put George Russell in first. Like most media outlets have done it, but I decided to go with none other than Charles Leclerc. Again, I'm just being biased, and this list is obviously very controversial, but I think Ferraris are the team that surprised me the most. I like Charles. He's not one of my favorite drivers, but based on team performance and innovations that all of the teams were able to bring to the grid, I think the Ferrari team were the team that surprised me the most. And if you consider the years that they've been struggle, um, uh, I mean they barely have been fighting for championships in the last 5 years. So they've been fighting for construction championship. Excuse me. They've been fighting for construction championships, but as world championships, I don't think they've been up there. And these Ferrari just came out of nowhere. I was not expecting this piece of amazing innovation coming from Ferrari. I was not expecting. You have the diffuser at the back, which basically I don't want to get into. This video is not to talk about any technical aspects, but you have the diffuser that they were able to attach to the back of the car, like no other team was able to do that. Then you have the rotation rear wing that rotates 360 degrees, and obviously apparently gives them an edge on straights as well. So it's the innovations that Ferraris were able to deploy every single week, and also the pace that they had, not just in acceleration, but Charles Leclerc on the last day of the preseason testing, he was able to go out and consistently complete the fastest track, lap in, lap out, lap in, lap out. It was like this dude was possessed. It was so easy for him. I think he had the last 10 laps. He was able to clock the fastest. Out of the last 10 laps, 6 of those were the fastest laps were completed by Charles Leclerc in a space of 20 minutes or so, which is quite an amazing feat for the Ferraris to do. And you also have to consider that Ferrari was the fastest in Barcelona shakedown week, and they also came out on top on the Bahrain preseason test. So that's the reason why I put Charles Leclerc in number one position, simply because he dominated Lewis Hamilton last season. But obviously, Lewis Hamilton has a different sentiment. He's ready to fight. He likes the new regulations. He likes how the car is well balanced. He likes the look and feel of the car. But I still feel like Leclerc, it's on his prime. And he reminds me of Max. Obviously, Max is not on the list, but he's not because anything to do with skill. Obviously, Max is one of the best driver on the grid for me at the moment. The reason why I didn't put Max on the list is because Red Bull didn't show enough pace, didn't show enough innovation, and I didn't see any sentiment coming from the team that they were good enough to fight for the championship. But yeah, Leclerc kind of reminds me of Max. He's able to extract every single point of any situation, even when the car is not balanced or the track is not suitable for their cars. Leclerc is one of those drivers that is able to do exactly what Max does, and he's also able to defend quite well as in the same way that Max does, right? So I think Leclerc is possibly one of the best drivers on this list. And based on what Ferrari has shown, obviously I have to put him in number one position. Obviously, he got married last week. Congratulations to you, Charles. I hope he goes well. But yeah, he's obviously they rented out. What's the name of this car? I can't remember. Is it Tata Rossa, something like that? Is it one of those classic Ferrari motors? But yeah, he got married. Obviously, they look at them. They look young, happy, as they should. He married. A crazy list, and obviously it's going to raise a lot of eyebrows. But that's my ranking. That's my top 5 title contenders for 2026 Formula One season. Obviously, with the new regulations, shaking up the order, and obviously, it could be an exciting championship fight that we have seen in the last years. So yeah, let me know who's your pick, who's your title contender for this year, for this season, and I hope to see you in the comment section. Until then, see you in the next one.